I never imagined that a simple evening jog could turn into the most unsettling experience of my life. It all started with what seemed like an innocent decision to explore a new running route I found on my phone's map app. The path looked promising, winding through unfamiliar streets and eventually leading into a bushy trail. I told myself it would be a refreshing change from my usual routine. At first, everything felt normal. The cool evening breeze brushed against my skin, and the rhythmic sound of my footsteps was the only thing breaking the silence. But as I pushed deeper into the path, something strange happened. My phone's GPS signal vanished. No internet, no location updates. I paused, trying to refresh the app, but nothing worked. It was as if I had stepped into a dead zone. I hesitated for a moment, contemplating turning back, but I saw a clear walking path ahead. It seemed to promise a way out, and so I pressed on, hoping to reach a road or at least regain my connection. The deeper I went, the thicker the vegetation became, and soon I found myself jogging under the eerie glow of a blue moon hanging low in the midnight sky. That's when I noticed it, the silhouette of a man behind me. My heart pounded as I slowed my pace and glanced over my shoulder. The figure stood motionless, just beyond the edge of my vision. I called out, my voice trembling, but as soon as I did, the figure retreated into the shadows. A cold sense of unease crept over me, and I picked up my pace, pushing myself harder. Yet every time I looked back, the silhouette was still there, always retreating, always lingering, just far enough to be unsettling, but never close enough to confront. Then, out of nowhere, another jogger appeared beside me, seemingly emerging from the darkness itself. He was an older man, fit and composed, matching my pace effortlessly. "You seem lost," he said with a friendly tone. "I know this route well. Mind if I join you?" Relief washed over me, and I nodded, grateful for the company. With him beside me, the tension in my chest eased slightly. I kept stealing glances over my shoulder, but the shadowy figure remained, lurking at a distance. "Ignore what you think you see back there," the man said calmly. His voice had a strange weight to it, as if he knew more than he was letting on. As we jogged, he struck up a conversation, filling the silence with eerie tales that sent a chill down my spine. "You know," he began, his voice almost casual, "this place isn't what it seems. Beneath all this overgrowth, the military hides things. Secrets. Hundreds of bodies, they say. And the land itself? Let's just say it's rich in things that could make you very wealthy, or ruin you." I humored him with polite nods and the occasional though I didn't believe a word of it. "Precious stones," he continued, "diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and the dangerous stuff too, uranium, plutonium. You've heard of those, right?" I forced a smile and kept jogging, eager to reach civilization. The hours stretched on, and before I knew it, the first rays of sunlight peeked through the dense trees. Up ahead, I spotted a paved road and a wired fence separating it from the bush. Finally, an escape. Without hesitation, I ran toward the fence, eager to climb over and leave this strange night behind me. But as soon as I reached it, the sound of screeching tires filled the air. Several military vehicles skidded to a halt, and before I could react, armed soldiers jumped out, rifles aimed directly at me. "Hands up!" they barked, their voices sharp and unyielding. I froze, raising my hands slowly, my mind racing with confusion and fear. I turned to look for the mysterious jogger, the man who had been beside me the entire night. But he was gone, vanished without a trace. They detained me and brought me to their base, locking me in a small, cold interrogation room. The questions came fast and aggressive. "What were you doing in that area? Who sent you? What do you know?" I told them everything. How I had gotten lost, how my phone lost connection, and how I encountered two individuals. The figure that followed me and the man who jogged alongside me. They listened in silence, their expressions unreadable. Then they placed a screen in front of me, displaying footage from a security camera that had been tracking me through the bush path. My heart sank as I watched the video. It showed only me, jogging alone, with no sign of the mysterious man by my side, or the silhouette that had haunted me from behind. A wave of confusion hit me. Were they playing tricks on me, or worse, was I losing my mind? I could clearly remember running those paths with the man, hearing his voice, and feeling his presence right beside me. Then they asked, "What did the man tell you?" Reluctantly, I recounted the bizarre stories, how the bush supposedly held mass graves, valuable minerals, and dangerous materials. As I spoke, I noticed the officers exchange uneasy glances. They were obviously irritated by my words, but said nothing to contradict my statement, almost as if they recognized the claim but felt unhappy hearing it. Without a word, they stepped out of the room, leaving me alone. The walls were thin, and I could hear them talking outside. One voice, colder than the rest, said, "We should get rid of him, just like the others." Others? I thought. I immediately recalled what the old man said about bodies hidden in that bush path. Could it be what they're talking about? The shock I felt gave me goosebumps. My instincts screamed at me to stay calm, but I knew I had to act fast. Earlier, when they allowed me a brief bathroom break, I had managed to call my brother using my smartwatch, which had its own cellular connection. I told him everything, and he promised to bring a lawyer. They came back into the room and requested, "Has anyone by any chance heard about this?" I said, just my brother, who I was able to contact when I used your bathroom some minutes ago." "How?" screamed an older one among them. "You have another cell phone?" I pointed out that my wristwatch is actually a smartwatch with cellular connectivity and call capabilities. That is what I used to contact my brother when I was in the bathroom. They left the room again, arguing among themselves. I could make out phrases like, "Well, his brother and a lawyer knows now," and "You two are incompetent." Soon the officers returned, one of them roughly grabbing my wrist and removing my watch. They left again, and I could hear their tense argument outside. Minutes later, the door opened and an officer entered with a forced smile. "Your lawyer is here. You're free to go." Relief flooded over me as I stepped outside and saw my brother waiting with a stern-faced lawyer. As we walked away from the base, the lawyer leaned in and said quietly, "You have no idea how lucky you are. People who come across this unit, they're never heard from again." They gave me my phone and watch back, and we left. I glanced back at the compound one last time, feeling a deep unease settle in my gut. Whatever was hidden in that bush, whatever secrets that strange jogger had hinted at, it was something I never wanted to cross paths with again. That night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't help but wonder, was any of it real? The silhouette, the mysterious jogger, his outlandish stories, or was it all in my head? Either way, one thing was certain. I would never jog that route again.